Good evening, and welcome to Ask the Retoucher. I am your humble host, Eric of Grafix, and we try our utmost to be with you live at least once a week. And right now our schedule has been steady on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. And that would be 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific, and then as you go to Hawaii, it'd be earlier, to Japan, and the Far East time would be earlier and earlier. So we just love to have people from anywhere check in. We have a little chat room. You can post your questions, submit your comments, and I will address you right there on the spot with your concerns. There is a very important topic that is often overlooked by most people who are working with photos, whether you are a book publisher, an art director, you're publishing something for print, publishing something for the web, publishing anything. And that is image size. Image size. And when we're choosing photographs for use, some type of, going to run it, post it somewhere, we have to be aware of two factors. One, and the most important one, I would say, is resolution, or what they might call DPI or PPI. In my course, I deal with these issues specifically, but tonight I just wanted to help us out, help you out if you have if you're not aware that DPI or PPI, resolution, and dimensions, that would be the height and the width, are different realities that you have to be aware of. It is as how can I say, it is the difference, it's almost like the difference between a two-dimensional object, this piece of paper, looking at it flat, I would say like this, to it's three-dimensional. So if I had curved it like so. My wife bought me this phaser toy from Star Trek. So this is a two-dimensional. We could say this would be like our height. And then we would say our width. And then if it was going to go three-dimensional, here's where you start seeing maybe like resolution, depth, and watch out. Because that's what's going to happen if you don't understand what you're doing with image size. Now, when you're purchasing images, let's say you working with a photographer, or you're buying them on a stock website, a stock image site. Let's get into that right now. I will, if you give me a moment, get my screen set for you, and we'll simply type in, I guess one of the more popular sites is IStock Photo.com. All right. Now, um, in this case, you know, I don't believe we need to log in to browse, but let's just go to the photos and let us do a search for something basic. Um, we would say uh, birds in a tree. And um, this is not so important for this particular discussion, but I made sure it was a photo. So here we have a picture. This is a great example. All right. So this is our photo of two birds sitting on branches, it says. Now here's where I notice people make the most mistakes, and that is they have a choice. They have a choice. You have a choice when you're going to buy an image. This is actually pretty decent size. Let me get something that might have more resolution choices. Let's see. No. I like them to have multiple choices. Yeah. So here we have a small, we have a medium, a large, an extra large, an extra extra large, an extra 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 large. And of course, we see pixels, and we see file size, and we see credits. Now credits is depending on the website you go to. For example, we could go to Dreamstime.com. This is another stock site. All right. So birds in a tree, and let me just narrow that down to photos, just because we are dealing with photos. Although illustrations are a lot of fun to work with. So here they say download here, you gotta log in. So actually let me log in, and hopefully we'll get more information, and I can, you know, kind of compare it for you. Alright, great. So let's go back to search results, and here, I don't know why it's giving me these free things here. But anyways, everyone pays attention to credits, okay, and different options for pricing and sizes. Now I would say, let's jump back to iStock. I would say, don't worry about how much it costs. I know. Well, I don't have a big budget. That's fine. But you really need to know what you're dealing with. Now, if I go with what's called 2167 by 2268, that's 70 credits, all right? 70 credits. I'm not sure how much that is, but it's, you know, it's a couple dollars. It's a little more than a couple dollars, I believe. But you get a very large image to work with. Now, nice thing about some of these stock sites, including Dreamstime, is generally they give you the print size and the image size. So here they give you a print size 7 by 4, okay, 4 by 7, all right, and this is what, maybe this is how big you think you need it. Well, let's say you're publishing a book. Let's say specifically, I would say for demonstration purposes, another blatant promotion. Woo. Let's say you're publishing a workbook this size, like one of my workbooks that I publish. And you say, well, I don't think I'm going to need this picture any bigger than, this. It's really worth it for you to get an image that would print large in the whole page. Start big, then you go small. When it comes to digital, you want it big because you'll have quality. So digital, big equals quality. So you start out with a big image. Then if you have to shrink it, make it smaller, no problem. But if you need it bigger, things change. You're not going to be able to get that original back and make it bigger. So in this case, let's click on inches for IStock. And these are quite large. Like you look at 9 by 4 by 9 by 8, you think, oh, that's pretty big. But the catch is it's at 72 dpi. Well, 72 dpi, this is only appropriate for the web, the internet, and video. So if you're going to publish it on the web, that's fine. But if you're going to run this in a book, maybe not. How do we figure that out? Well, let's go to Photoshop. And let's actually make a brand new document. File new. And we're going to base this new document on these numbers here for the small size. Because this is the cheapest one, right? Like I want the cheapest one, right? I want to save money. I don't have a lot of money to blow. Okay, I can understand that. So let's do this pixel size, all right? 677 by 709 at 72 pixels per inch. Okay, so now the screen shows it's almost 9 inches by 9 inch, basically a 9 by 9. But what if I want to print it? What if it has to be published in a book or a magazine? Or I just want to make a photo of it, a print. Well, this is how you figure it out. Make sure resample, go to image size. Make sure resample is unchecked. And that means these are locked up here. This is all locked. And then you click on the 72 and you change it to 300, which is appropriate resolution for the image is going to print. This is how big the image is going to be at print. 2 by 2, or 2.5 by 2.5, or 2.25 by 2.25 inches. I mean, that is very small. I mean, if you have this book right here, this workbook you're working on, maybe it'll fit in here. Maybe. And I'm always looking for a ruler. I never have it when I need it. But that is almost as big as this. So there's no way that this is good for you. So you got to pay close attention. And I wish that they would put warnings. They would say, warning, this size is only for web. I think, no, they don't do it here. They call it extra small. Here they call it small. So the next size up would be this one. So let's go to inches. So 4 by 5 by 4 by 7. I think that would be like this. Okay. What I'm saying is make it even bigger. So I'd say go with the large size. 7 by 7 by 7 basically. That's almost as big as a page on this book. Now, for some reason, you might even want to make a cover image out of it, or you might want to make what they call a spread, maybe a double truck they call it, it depends, and you want it real big then. Well, then you got to make a step up and go with that kind of extra large size, that 11 by 11. And you know, on the other sites, same thing. They got maximum, you know, maximum JPEG, maximum TIFF. Now I don't know. You know, I'm not so impressed with a TIFF generated from a JPEG on a stock image site. I just stick with the JPEG. But you know, whatever. So this is something you have to look out for. All right. Now, one other thing I wanted to point out is that you may not always need a photo from a stock site. So on a stock photo site, most stock photo sites also sell illustrations. So here's their illustrations page on IStock. So maybe you wanted a background here. You wanted this item, and you'll notice that some of these are called vector, and that means it's scalable. Okay, these are really nice files where you can basically scale them to enormous proportions, more than you can ever imagine, because the image is generated based on mathematical points through which lines intersect. Thus, they call it vector. It's not a pixel-based image. Now, you could take this, this image here, and put it in Photoshop, open it in Photoshop, and you can resize it. So let's kind of show you what I mean, and we'll just download a let's see if they have a free image section. Usually most of these sites have a free image section. They're not always the best, but let's go to free images up here in Dreamstime, and let's go down here, and I don't actually want this because I want a vector. So let's see if they have vector images here. See if this is, I'm sure these are vector here. And maybe not. This might not be free. Download high quality for as low as. So it's not quite a free image. Let's try the latest free image here. What about this one? Nope. And more free photos. Might not have any illustrations that are vector based that I can download for free. Let's try to get this one here. Yeah, that one's not. So what we'll do is I'll log into my handy dandy IStock account, and we'll take a look at some of the free vector illustrations here, and I can show you how you scale it, how you can really work with it. It's quite interesting. If you haven't done it before, this is a great time for you to learn. So let's go to free, and we'll get this item here. It's a little water droplets. Alright, this is called Free Vector of the Month. More free stock vectors. Let's go to this here. Alright, we'll download it. And I agree. And we'll save it. Great. Alright, so now we'll switch to Photoshop. And I will actually open this with Photoshop. And now it gives me this dialog box. It says rasterize EPS format. And that's because this EPS formatted file is a vector file, and it has to convert it from vector to bitmap or a pixel-based image. And I'll just go make it simple. I'll make it RGB at 300 pixels per inch. Shoot, let's put it at 20 inches. Hopefully I won't run out of RAM while recording this video for you. It is quite big, but the detail is fantastic. So there you have it. I mean, look at how crisp that is, right? That is real nice. So, you know, whenever you have the opportunity to download an illustration, you should. I'm going to show you here on Dreamstime. Let's see, these are all pixels. Let's try Toad. Actually, I'm searching in the free section, I think. So let me get out of the free section. And it looks like I'm stuck in the free section. Okay, there we go. Toad in the hole. We're going to go illustrations. And we're going to say boulders. I'm just trying to come up with something. Aha. So here, if you wanted these rocks, this illustration of boulders, I recommend you get this one. It's called Additional Format. You'll find that on Dreamstime. It's called the EPS Vector, and I would say get that one because that is scalable. Now let me remind you that this is only with vector-based illustrations. If you have photos, let's say photos of boulders, well, in that case, you're looking at these. All right, these are not going to have an EPS format, and if they did, they'd still be a bitmap. So we have all kinds of options before us. The key is which option is the best. And when you keep that principle that when it's digital, you get the biggest size, you'll have the best quality. You'll be able to handle it. You'll be able to handle it and yourself quite well. And you'll be able to get the, you'll be able to go back if you have to and correct your mistakes. Selection.
What are layers?
What is resolution?
What is a JPEG?
What is TIFF?
What is RGB?
How do I crop a picture?
What is a zoom tool?
What is a clone stamp?
What are levels?
My name is Eric Basir, and I have produced this unique photo restoration and retouching foundations video course to answer all these questions and more. In my classes and workshops, I have taught hundreds how to preserve and restore their personal photographic collections with Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Photoshop Elements. Now you can have me as your personal instructor in this 10-lesson course. After studying the videos and easy-to-read workbook, you'll finish with a firm foundation of how to use Adobe Photoshop or any other photo editing program confidently and correctly. Now, I think a few episodes ago, we were working on a picture, a restoration, and I was dealing with some of the some very old pictures, and we're just going to jump right into it. Now, what I do is I turn these in to customers, and sometimes the customers ask for additional work, what I call corrections. So last episode we actually dealt with some of these corrections. This is a different customer. So I thought, let's deal with it. And let's see how I handle myself live. I might regret this. At least you'll say he's being honest. So, customer says, hey, I like it, but I actually want this person here, which is myself, not me, but it's the customer as a child. I want that by myself. And I said, okay, I'm sorry, I goofed on that. So we'll merge this, we'll flatten this and duplicate the background layer. And I think it's always good to save as a new name. Now, he wants more detail. He wants, pretty much we've lost a lot of detail in here, and we need to rebuild. And there's a lot of ways to approach this. We can try working on the original more, or we can actually rebuild the detail. Let's try using what we would call the history brush or the burn and dodge tool. Either one. I prefer the history brush. And let's try to help the eyes and I told him, well, there's really no detail in there. I'm just going to have to fake it. And he said, oh, you can fake it. So I don't want to fake it too much. And of course, we're in a situation an important situation because the customer wants to crop this, wants just this particular image, doesn't want anything else. So I'm going to be very careful, kind of like with a little, it's like we're painting, we're brushing. Yeah. So let's see, before, after. Now let's help his lips, because they look very damaged. Like that part of the picture looks damaged. And we want to be careful because we don't want to necessarily change the lips. So we'll make a new snapshot from which to work with based on that. And let me save it, save often. And let's help that eyelid right here and here and here and there. And then we'll just darken the lash a little bit here. It's looking pretty rough, but we'll see. And we need the specular highlight to show up as well. Now, let's help. It looks like the lips are probably going to have to be rebuilt. So let's do this. Let's go over here. Now, not everybody's lips look the same. I'll grab the quick mask tool and mask this little boy's lips. Why am I doing it? Why am I just not painting them from scratch? Well, because there's grain, there's element of focus issues, and I just want to try it. Now, of course, these lips are far too dark, so we'll adjust that. And that would be the other way. Get my S curve going here. Alright. Just a little S curve. Don't go too crazy. Let's see what happens. Now his lips don't really curve up too much. So what I want to do is put on a layer mask. Grab the paintbrush tool and make sure I have a soft edge brush and just kind of paint it away a little bit at the top, but I want to put the opacity at about 60% for my paintbrush. So there we have that. Now a couple other issues, and that is contrast. And there are shadow problems. As we see in the histogram here, these lines, these like combs of lines, we're really not working with a whole lot of detail. Oops. So we really can't get too excited about the changes. But I do have this adjustment layer in a mask, so I can paint away or paint back some of the detail that I lost in the highlight sections. Okay, and let's make we call this layer lip. Don't give me any lip. Okay, contrast, and we'll call this layer neck. There's some kind of thing sticking on his neck here, so we'll option click or alt option click to get a source there and go like that. So let's look at how far we've come. Before, after. Before, after. Before, after. I think the highlight on his eye is kind of messed up. Not really happy with that. So let's put the history brush back to normal, 100%. Let's go over here. No, it's too far gone. So I'm going to call this eyelid, because it's like the highlight is crossing back over his eye. Let me turn off that adjustment layer. It seems to be picking up the detail from it. Well, maybe not. I think that's better. It doesn't look like that what do you call the specular highlight is on his lid. It's back on his eyeball the way it should be. Alright, now what I can do is paint just in case, because you never know. Customer will say, hey, I want all that stuff back of those other people. So I can paint back this detail right here and here and here. Okay. And get right in here. Well, let's say 40%. And I think I've got a great improvement right here. I think it's something that we can really work with and send to the customer and say, what do you think? And I know the customer will see a difference. But will they like it? That's a different story. And I think that's what we'll find out about eventually. And maybe I'll get back to you with the details. If you don't hear back from me about it, it's most likely because I am just so embarrassed by the mess I made, and the customer is so upset, and they just saw their picture on YouTube and said, "Get that thing off there." And but you never know. You never know. Well, we didn't get any questions this week for this show. I was kind of disappointed, and no one checked into class tonight, but that's okay. I haven't been very consistent, and it looks like the next week, the week that's coming, I will not be doing a show, and I will probably be doing another live show 2 weeks from the airing of this show. It is April 1st, so this could be a big April Fool's joke on all of us. But I've got my handy phaser. I'll keep it on stun. So until next time, be good and make sure you always I don't have any advice for you, but to tell you enjoy life. It's short. Do what makes you happy as long as it doesn't violate the rights and the space of other people. My name is Eric Basir, and this is Ask the Retoucher Live.